Marcus Rashford given new position in Man United icons Dream, Ruben Amorim and Gyokeres. Former Manchester United defender Wes Brown has named the XE. He wants to see new manager Ruben Amorim select, and it includes a new role for Marcus Rashford. Manchester United icon Wes Brown has shared his thoughts on who should be in Ruben Amorim's ideal starting 11. Amorim, the new head coach from Sporting, had his first training session with the team at Carrington on Monday. Despite some players being away on international duty, he got a chance to observe some of the squad up close. The 39-year-old is expected to quickly instill the same coaching philosophy that earned him 2 Primeira Liga titles at the Lisbon club. His first game in charge will be a Premier League match against Ipswich Town on Sunday. Amorim, known for his 3-4-3 formation at Sporting, is anticipated to overhaul Ten Hag's tactics and introduce this setup to his new squad. With this philosophy in mind, ex-United defender Brown has suggested what the lineup should look like when all players are fit. In a conversation with Casino24.dk, the 45-year-old chose Rasmus Højlund as the starting striker over Joshua Zirkzee and interestingly proposed Marcus Rashford to play just behind Højlund in a completely new role. Brown's suggested int is Andre Onana, Lenny Yoro, Matthijs de Ligt, Lisandro Martinez, Diogo Dalot, Bruno Fernandes, Kobbie Mainoo, Noussair Mazraoui, Alejandro Garnacho, Marcus Rashford, Rasmus Højlund. Explaining his selection, Brown said, "With everyone fit, I'd like to see a back three of Lenny Yoro, Matthijs de Ligt, and Lisandro Martinez in front of Andre Onana. I'd like to see Bruno Fernandes and Kobbie Mainoo in the middle with Diogo Dalot and Noussair Mazraoui as wingbacks. Then Alejandro Garnacho and Marcus Rashford in behind Rasmus Højlund. That team has plenty of creativity as well as pace at the back, but I'm sure everyone under Amorim will get a chance to impress." He noted that while Rashford has been frequently deployed coming off the left flank in recent seasons, Amorim's system requires wing-backs rather than wingers. Despite originally playing as a striker when he first joined the team in 2016, Brown believes Rashford will need to adapt to a different role. The A-team was observed in a 3-4-3 formation during Amorim's inaugural training session, consisting of a back three featuring Lenny Yoro, Johnny Evans, and Luke Shaw. Positioned ahead were Anthony, Casemiro, Kobbie Mainoo, and Tyrell Malaysia, supporting an attacking trio of Amad Diallo, Marcus Rashford, and Mason Mount. Ruben Amorim could soon unleash a new long-term Manchester United partnership. The prospect of Ruben Amorim deploying a 3-4-3 system at Man United could mark the beginning of a new on-field partnership. Planning to sign 2 centre-backs in the summer transfer window, it was quickly debated who would make up Manchester United's first-choice pairing in the heart of the defence. Lisandro Martinez, despite his injury struggles last season, has been an indispensable figure since joining the club from Ajax in July 2022, establishing himself as arguably the club's best signing of the Erik ten Hag era. His ball-playing credentials and the fact he is left-footed have seen him make the left-sided centre-back berth his own over the last couple of years, meaning there was next to no chance to him being dislodged from United's strongest starting lineup. But having said farewell to Raphael Varane at the end of last season, United had no choice but to strengthen at centre-back, despite already having Harry Maguire, Victor Lindelof, and Johnny Evans, who signed a new contract, on their books. United, adopting a new transfer policy, won the race for Lenny Yoro in July, signing him from French club Lille in a deal worth €70 million. The defender, who turned 19 last week, had established himself as one of Europe's most promising centre-backs and was also being admired by Real Madrid. Just under 4 weeks after swooping for Yoro, United signed Matthijs de Ligt from Bayern Munich, reuniting him with Ten Hag. The duo had previously worked together at Ajax prior to de Ligt moving to Juventus in 2019. By the time de Ligt had put pen to paper on a 5-year deal at Old Trafford, United were already without Yoro. The Frenchman fractured his metatarsal in the first game of United's pre-season tour of the United States in July and was ruled out for several months. It meant de Ligt was immediately in pole position to start alongside Martinez at centre-back. After watching Maguire start United's opening 2 Premier League games of the campaign, the Netherlands international has since started 8 of the last 9 league games, establishing himself as United's first-choice right-sided centre-back under both Ten Hag and, more recently, Ruud van Nistelrooy. However, following the appointment of new head coach Ruben Amorim, the landscape of United's backline is likely to change. The former Sporting Lisbon boss is expected to install a 3-4-3 formation in his quest to transform United's style of play. The 3-4-3 formation was the bedrock of Amorim's success at Sporting, and he must stick to his principles if he is to be a success at Old Trafford. Switching to a 3-4-3 means a shift to a 3-man defensive line, featuring 3 centre-backs, supported by wing-backs either side. Amorim took charge of training for the first time on Monday, and video footage that was captured appeared to show him working on a 3-at-the-back system. Euro was among those who featured in the session. The youngster has been back out on the grass at Carrington for a few weeks, and it is hoped that he will be in contention to make his competitive debut for United sooner rather than later. Amorim could be asked to issue an update on the defender's progress when he meets the media for the first time later this week. The prospect of Euro soon being back available could be significant to Amorim's thinking. Signed for a massive fee, he was not brought to Old Trafford to sit on the bench, meaning he will, once back up to speed, expect to start week in, week out. United's decision to appoint Amorim when they did could not have been better timed for the Frenchman. The expectation of a 3-4-3 system being introduced means an extra centre-back slot in the starting Ixin. Having spent so much money on Euro and De Ligt, United Chiefs will expect both of them to become staples in Amorim's first-choice backline, operating alongside Martinez. Aged 19, 25 and 26 respectively, Euro, De Ligt and Martinez have the capacity, should they hit it off as a trio, to form a long-term partnership and create a new-look United spine for years to come. Euro is considered as one of the most promising centre-backs in football. De Ligt is not without his qualities, despite an indifferent start to life in England, and Martinez is one of the best in the business when it comes to playing the ball out from deep areas. On paper, it is a back 3 with the potential to thrive under Amorim's coaching, offering United the opportunity to start afresh at the back. In other news, Bruno Fernandes sends subtle message to Victor Gyokeres amid Man United transfer links. Manchester United captain Bruno Fernandes appears to be keeping a close eye on Sporting striker Victor Gyokeres' career. Manchester United captain Bruno Fernandes has interacted with Sporting striker Victor Gyokeres after the forward continued his fine goal-scoring form for Sweden. The Sporting striker bagged the opener in Sweden's 2-1 win over Slovakia in the Nations League on Saturday, with Newcastle's Alexander Isak scoring the winner. Gyokeres has been in sensational form for his domestic club since Ruben Amorim signed him from Coventry City for £20 million. So far, the striker has managed 66 goals in just 68 appearances, and such form has led to rumours that Amorim may look to reunite with his talisman at Old Trafford. Should he wish to do so, it is unlikely to be in the January transfer window, with the 39-year-old United boss already pledging not to raid the Lisbon club this winter. However, a move next summer could be a possibility, with rumours suggesting a gentleman's agreement is in place for Gyokeres to leave for around £63 million should he stay in Portugal for the remainder of the season. After scoring his 11th goal for Sweden, the striker posted a short message on Instagram thanking his nation and international teammates. In a show of support, Fernandes liked the post, suggesting he is keeping tabs on Gyokeres' career. While a nice gesture, it may not necessarily be a sign of Gyokeres' impending arrival in Manchester. Fernandes is a self-proclaimed fan of Sporting and does try to watch them as often as possible when in the UK. Meanwhile, at United, Amorim is focused on Sunday, when he will make his debut as manager for the Reds as they visit Ipswich Town. Amorim to axe, Man United man, who's a disruptive influence as target replacement, is named Man United boss Ruben Amorim, has made the decision to offload disruptive Antony in the January transfer window, according to reports. The Red Devils sacked Erik Ten Hag after a terrible start to the new Premier League season, with the Dutchman leading them to just 3 wins in their opening 9 matches. Ruud van Nistelrooy put 4 more points on the board in the 2 Premier League matches since Ten Hag's departure by beating Leicester City and drawing with Chelsea. Man United moved quickly to bring in Ten Hag's permanent successor in Amorim, with the Portuguese coach arriving in Manchester last Monday after winning his final match as Sporting Lisbon manager 4-2 against Braga. And there are already plenty of rumours about which players could arrive in the next couple of transfer windows as the Red Devils look to give Amorim some support. There are some doubts as to whether Amorim has the right players to suit his 3-4-3 formation, which he preferred to play at Sporting, while there are serious questions about the current attackers at Man United. Only Southampton, Crystal Palace and Everton have scored fewer goals than Man United in the Premier League this season, and Antony is struggling to get into the team. The Brazil international is yet to make a Premier League start this campaign after 2 disappointing seasons at Old Trafford, with Antony limited to just 5 appearances in all competitions this term. And now the Daily Star claims that Man United will listen to offers for Brazilian flop Antony in the January transfer window, as Amorim plans to axe the struggling winger. New Man United boss Amorim already knows who he wants to replace Antony with as he looks to bring in Sporting Lisbon's Giovanni Quenda. Antony has not managed to settle in at Man United, and the Daily Star claims he has become a disruptive influence in the squad. Ruben Amorim and Kobbie Mainoo moment in Man United training speaks volumes amid Manuel Ugarte call what Amorim decided to do with Mainoo in his maiden Man United training session could hint at his weekend plans versus Ipswich. Manchester United fans will be delighted to have seen Kobbie Mainoo moving so freely in Ruben Amorim's first training session. The midfielder is technically still a doubt for Sunday's visit to Ipswich Town, but there are hopes he will have shaken off his thigh injury to take part. Mainoo was one of 9 academy graduates to be handed their senior debut by Erik Ten Hag during his tenure, and is perhaps the most successful. Just 18 months after his first run-out against Charlton Athletic in the League Cup, he was starting the final of Euro 2024. The 19-year-old was no longer a United regular, but became a staple. It is unclear who Amorim will ultimately choose in his first-choice midfield, with just 2 places up for grabs in his 3-4-3 system, should he indeed adopt it at United as expected. Practically, it might be a case that there is only 1 space available, given it would be a surprise to see captain Bruno Fernandes dropped or used on the flank. An attacking midfielder, Fernandes will surely be partnered with a colleague who sits centrally while he moves forward up the pitch. Casemiro and Manuel Ugarte are both pivots, while Mainoo can also operate in the role, even if it isn't his best one. With Casemiro out of the picture for Brazil, Amorim has had chance to work with him this international break. And with Mainoo still getting back up to full pace post-injury, he was left out of the England squad and has had the same benefit. It means both have had crucial time with the new head coach and might be more likely to feature against Ipswich than former Sporting CP protégé Ugarte, who scored a stoppage-time winner in Uruguay's 3-2 World Cup qualifying win over Colombia last week. Ugarte will be well aware of the system used by Amorim, having played 85 times under the Portuguese coach in Lisbon, where he started 61 matches. But new teammates and a new environment mean there is still an element of adaptation needed. Should he start for Uruguay against Brazil on Wednesday, it could slim his chances of starting at the weekend, given the quick turnaround South American players face during the international break due to the long-haul flights back to England. Casemiro and Mainoo have both had a fortnight of no travel. It would make more sense to use them, after a week of tactical input, than the potentially tired Ugarte. Whether Mainoo is fit enough to start will only become clear in time, but his inclusion in training indicates he will at least be in the matchday squad, barring any late setbacks, and it seems Amorim was preparing him for his way of playing during his first session too. As players were making their way off the field after an attacking drill, Amorim pulled Mainoo to one side to give him some personal instructions. He appeared to pass on some positional advice as the teenager gets used to his new responsibilities. It might hint that Mainoo is nearing a return to action, in whatever capacity, given that such a demonstration would unlikely be passed on at this time if he was still some way off a return. With these tactics fresh and drilled into the mind, It could be him who gets minutes ahead of Ugarte, who, while familiar with Amorims, the setup, has not played in it for nearly 18 months. With so little time to readapt before Sunday, Ugarte might on this occasion be left disappointed. Bruno Fernandes shows true colours with Paul Pogba message, as Man United reunion stance explained Paul Pogba and Juventus have parted ways, making the former Manchester United midfielder a free agent. Bruno Fernandes has sent Paul Pogba a heartwarming message following the termination of his contract at Juventus. The 31-year-old former Manchester United midfielder will be eligible to return to first-team training in January, following the conclusion of his doping ban before being able to play in competitive matches from March. Pogba was suspended by Italy's National Anti-Doping Tribunal, NADO, in February, after a random drug test found increased levels of testosterone in his system. The France international appealed the ruling to the Court of Arbitration for Sport, who reduced the sanction from 4 years to 18 months, starting from September 2023. He was expected to return to Juventus following his ban, with a contract that kept him in Turin until June 2026. However, Pogba has since agreed to mutually terminate his deal with the Italian giants, making him a free agent. The former United star confirmed his departure from Juventus on Instagram last week. In an official statement, he said, "There are times when things don't go the way we want, but one thing is certain. The bond I have with you, dear fans, will remain unforgettable. You have given me so much, more than I can express in words. Component placement, and I will always carry with me all the affection you have given me. You will always be in my heart. Good luck, Juventus." The post eclipsed 1 million likes, with colleagues, former teammates and fans all showing their support in the comment section. One message from Fernandes stood out. Showing his true colours, the United skipper said, "Phenomenon as a player, but even more phenomenal as a person you are. Red heart emoji." Juventus released their own statement to confirm Pogba's exit. The old lady said, "Juventus Football Club and Paul Pogba announced that they have reached a mutual agreement for the termination of their contract as of 30 November 2024. The club wishes Paul the very best for his professional future." Speaking to French newspaper L'Équipe last month, Pogba described reports of a move to Olympique Marseille, which would see him reunite with former United teammate Mason Greenwood, as not credible. There had been reports he was in negotiations with the League One side over a deal. He said, "I laugh because it is Uncle Patrick Evra. He said it as a joke. I am still under contract, so it is not credible. I already have a club, so I am only thinking about returning and getting out of this situation. Of course, nobody knows what tomorrow holds, so never say never." Pogba has since, of course, parted ways with Juventus. Then, when quizzed again on his future by ESPN, the Frenchman kept his cards close to his chest. He said, "My main focus right now is just to get myself ready. I keep training and everything. Get ready for being able to join a team in January.